on top of knitting and crocheting and yarn type things, I love to grow things. So I love to garden, but unfortunately I don't have enough time to garden. So I'm growing a lot of houseplants, and I wanted to show you how they are looking because they are doing really well. I think this is a rubber plant. I need to find the name because I inherited this from my daughter, and it was a little bitty plant, but now it's thriving. I might need to look for a larger pot for it. And then this is one of my pothos. I have 3 right now. And when I got these last year, it was a tiny plant, and I didn't think it was gonna make it, but it's thriving. So it has really grown, and it looks really healthy. I am so happy with it. But the star of the show is this pothos here that's exploding. I don't know what happened to this or what I gave it. It's gotten really big. I probably need to transfer to a large pot because look at the size of that leaf. I just love this so much, and all I've been doing is watering these, but for some reason it just seems to be thriving, which is really nice. And then I have a couple of snake plants which I started from tiny pieces. These are the original pieces, and I've had these I think since October, and now it's starting to grow bigger, and I love that. And then I have this one, and this also started from like a tiny piece, and now it's starting to pick up and it's looking good. So my goal is to have more plants, but for right now that's what I have. I actually have another one of these in a different spot in my house, but right now this is what is sitting on my windowsill in the kitchen. So on top of growing my houseplants, I've been doing a lot of knitting, and I wanted to do a quick recap and show you what I have been working on. And I think I'm gonna start with my love note, which I have shown you before. So this is a pattern by Tincanknits, and I've had this as a whip for a while. And my goal was to finish this before winter or before spring came, but that did not happen. So I'm still going to finish it in March. That's my goal, so that I can wear it next winter. So that is what it looks like. So I finished the body, and I just need to pick up the sleeves and the neckline, and I'll be done with it. It's knitting up really fast, and I'm going to leave a link to my project notes so that if you're interested, you can look and see all the notes that I've written. And this is, I'm using a fingering weight held double with a mohair, and this is the first project I've done using a mohair. Initially, I didn't like it because it was shedding too much, but it has grown on me, and I have plans to make another fingering weight mohair sweater in the future, maybe towards the end of the year. But it feels really soft and nice, and I think it's gonna make a very nice winter sweater. And it looks really beautiful. So that's the first active whip that I have been working on. And then I always have a pair of socks going. And so I've made progress on this sock, but it's also not where I was hoping it would be. So this is how far I am. And my goal is to finish this and then work on one of those colorful socks. So I'm going to be using a pattern by Summer Lee. I haven't really decided which one I'm going to knit, but I'm not gonna start a new sock until I finish this one. So I'm on the increases, and I think I'm done with the increases. I'm about to do the heel. And once I do the heel, everything else goes really fast. And I am going to be using this black to do the heel and also to do the cuff. And this is a Knit Pick straw from my stash that I've had for a long time. And this one is a yarn that I bought from the DFW Fiber Fest. And it's a RW Custom Yarns. It's a 85-15, so it's 85% merino and 15% nylon. So, and it's I've never bought from this vendor before, or from this dyer before. I just loved the color. I don't know why my yarn always ends up looking like this. Does your yarn end up looking like this and you have to wind it again? This happens to me multiple times. I don't know why, but I'll fix that, because I don't want to end up with a mess that I cannot untangle. So that is my sock, which I am motivated to finish. I think I'm going to try to finish this over the weekend because I have a little bit of a free time. And then once I'm done, I'm going to cast on one of those socks that I've just found, one of the Summer Lee socks, and I'll share that with you once I do. And then in the middle of everything, I decided to cast on another shawl. And I have like 3 or 4 more rows to go, and I will be finished with this shawl. It will be all done. And the reason that I decided to work on this shawl was because I have had this yarn in my stash forever. And this is a Madelinetosh. I don't think I have the label anymore. Let me see. I probably don't have the label because it's traveled to many different places with me, but I'm going to leave all the details in the description below. But that's a Madelinetosh that I got a long time ago from Stephen B Studios when I went to visit my friend in Minnesota. And so I got myself, I think it was like 4 yarns by Madelinetosh. And so I wanted to use this up. Plus, I also have not knitted a fingering weight shawl in like forever. And so I decided to knit this one, and I looked around to see if I could find a nice pattern. But at the end, I decided to just draft it myself. So this is just a self-drafted shawl. I haven't written anything down because initially when I've tried to use this yarn before and I paired it with the yarn that I bought together. So I bought a solid red, and then I bought a variegated with some red and black and blue. But once I paired it with this, it didn't start out as much as I wanted. So I had to go back to my stash and look for something that would closely work with it. And I thought that this one did really well. And this one is another fingering weight from my stash. And this is also, and then I have some gray going, and this is also, I think this is from West 7th Wool. And this is what I'm talking about, my yarn looking weird. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm winding it wrong or something, I don't know. But I always get my yarn from the inside. So maybe that's also contributing. But anyway, so this is my self-drafted shawl. And this is the project that I'm actively working on. And I got, the stitches got too many. I ended up with too many stitches that they were not, they were bunching up on the knitting needles that I was using, which I think was a 32 inches. And so I had to go and order a 60-inch knitting needle in order to be able to accommodate all my stitches. But it worked. And also I've also discovered that I like the feel of the fingering weight shawl on my lap. So I'm going to count the stitches, and then I'm going to do a fingering weight blanket, and it will be one of those long-term projects because it feels lightweight, but it's still warm. And I have a lot of fingering weight that I need to use up because the last few years I've really focused on my acrylic stash and I have ignored my wool stash. And so I end up with so many pieces of fingering weight. But it's also because whenever I go to the yarn store, or I go to the Fiber Fest, I always end up buying some fingering weight yarn here and there, because I'm thinking that if you have one skein of fingering weight, you can knit socks or you can knit a shawl. And so I have a big collection of that. And I'm thinking that this is the year that I really need to put it to use. So that is what I have so far. And I'm thinking that this is going to be a finished project between today and tomorrow. And I think that these stripes here, really, this is my favorite section here. They really, really came out really nicely. So I love how that is looking. So leave a comment below and let me know what you're working on, whether you're knitting or you're crocheting, and whatever you're working on. I hope that you are having a wonderful time. And until next time, happy knitting and happy crocheting.